The civilization of Dilmun, which flourished in the heart of the Persian Gulf, particularly in what is today Bahrain, is one of the most enigmatic and influential civilizations of the ancient Middle East. For millennia, Dilmun played a crucial role as a commercial, cultural, and religious hub, connecting the great powers of Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and even Egypt, becoming one of the first interconnected global societies of the ancient world. Certainly. Let's delve deeper into the topic of the rise and glory of Dilmun, expanding the description of its prosperity, its religious foundation, social and political organization, as well as the essential role of technological innovations. The rise and glory of Dilmun. The rise of Dilmun is a key milestone in the ancient history of the Middle East, with its origins dating back to the 3rd millennium BC, when the region began to establish itself as a regional power due to its strategic location and its ability to control vital trade routes. Dilmun, which encompassed parts of modern Bahrain, Kuwait, and surrounding areas, became a key connection point between various great civilizations of the time, such as Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and later Egypt. Its position in the Persian Gulf allowed it to control one of the largest and most profitable commercial centers of antiquity, serving as an intermediary between the East and the West. The geographical importance of Dilmun cannot be underestimated. The maritime routes that passed along its shores connected Mesopotamia, where great city-states like Sumer, and Babylon flourished, to the vast region of the Indus Valley and the Arabian Peninsula. Dilmun not only served as a center for trade, but also stood out as an economically robust and prosperous society due to its control over the trade routes of essential goods. Copper, sourced from the mines of Oman, was one of the main exports of Dilmun. Copper, along with ivory, pearls, spices, and precious stones, formed the basis of trade. These goods were highly valued by neighboring civilizations and beyond, including Babylon, Assyria, Elam, and even the cultures of the Arabian Peninsula and India. The ivory trade with the Indus Valley is a notable example of how Dilmun established a commercial network that spanned continents and civilizations, uniting diverse cultures through luxury goods and rare commodities. The constant flow of goods, besides making Dilmun the epicenter of trade, fostered the rise of a powerful commercial elite that held control over the economy and maritime routes. This elite, made up of merchants and political leaders, formed a highly influential ruling class that oversaw commercial operations and ensured the continued prosperity of the civilization. In addition to its economic function, the religion of Dilmun was another fundamental pillar for the glory and rise of this civilization. The Dilmunite society had a profound spiritual connection with the natural resources and the elements that sustained its prosperity. Water, fertility, and nature were central deities within the religious pantheon of Dilmun, with the deity Enki, the god of water and wisdom, playing a prominent role. Enki was responsible for the creation and maintenance of the freshwater sources that irrigated the lands and enabled agriculture. His importance was directly linked to survival and agricultural growth, an essential foundation for trade and the stability of Dilmun. In addition to Enki, other deities associated with fertility and agricultural growth were also worshipped. The cult of the god Enki is especially evident in archaeological excavations, where monumental temples and liturgical sculptures reveal the high degree of religious sophistication. Such constructions also indicate the strong link between religion and the political and social structure of the civilization, with temples not only serving as places of worship but also as centers of power. Beyond religion, the social and political organization of Dilmun reflected the complexity of its economy and its high level of development. Although information about the political structure of Dilmun remains fragmented, Mesopotamian and archaeological sources suggest that Dilmunite society was stratified, with a commercial elite at the top of the hierarchy, controlling both material goods and political decisions. The ruling class was likely based around the figure of a monarch or supreme leader, though the degree of centralization of power remains debated. However, what is clear is that this commercial elite was closely tied to the administration of trade routes and the protection of the commercial interests that sustained the wealth of the civilization. Dilmun not only cultivated a thriving trade but also developed technical and maritime innovations that were essential to its global rise. Advanced navigation techniques were among Dilmun's greatest legacies. Highly specialized vessels, built for long commercial journeys, were developed to cross the waters of the Persian Gulf and beyond. The construction of ships and cargo vessels made from local materials such as wood and ropes, alongside advances in astronomical navigation techniques, allowed Dilmun to maintain an active maritime trade network with several other civilizations. These vessels not only transported goods but also enabled cultural exchange, aiding in the spread of ideas, religions, and technological innovations between the civilizations of the Middle East, the Indus Valley, and Egypt. The port infrastructure and interconnected trade networks of Dilmun were impressively complex for the time, and many historians believe that the network of ports and shipyards along the Persian Gulf coast was key to sustaining its maritime trade economy. These ports served not only as transshipment points for goods but also as hubs for the exchange of religious and cultural ideas, allowing Dilmun to thrive as a meeting point and exchange between the great powers of antiquity. In summary, the rise of Dilmun was driven by a combination of strategic location, an economy based on the trade of valuable goods, centralized political organization, and technological innovations in the field of navigation. Furthermore, its complex religion and spiritual connection with natural elements, such as water, played a key role in sustaining its glory and power for centuries. This civilization not only contributed technical innovations but also laid the foundations for enduring commercial and cultural interactions that would profoundly impact the development of future civilizations in the Middle East and beyond. Decline and disappearance of Dilmun. The decline of Dilmun began around the 2nd millennium BC, driven by a series of factors that affected both its internal structure and its external interactions. One of the main factors was climatic change, which caused increasing aridity in the region. The scarcity of drinking water and the diminishing of essential natural sources for agriculture and survival became insurmountable challenges for the civilization. Agriculture, which was the foundation of Dilmun's economy, began to wither, and the growing difficulty of sustaining the population led to the deterioration of living conditions. In addition, external competition also played a significant role in the decline of Dilmun. Empires such as Babylon and Assyria began to expand their spheres of influence in the region, changing trade routes and reducing the strategic importance of Dilmun. As new commercial powers emerged, Dilmun's role as an intermediary between the East and the West was gradually diminished. Internal instability also contributed to the weakening of the civilization. Growing social inequality and the difficulty in dealing with economic and environmental challenges likely generated internal tensions that undermined the cohesion of Dilmunite society. The elites, who had accumulated power through trade, were unable to respond adequately to external and internal crises, resulting in the fragmentation of the political and social structure. The combination of adverse climate changes, external pressures, and internal failures led to the gradual disappearance of Dilmun as a commercial power. Although references to the civilization of Dilmun continue to appear in Mesopotamian sources, such as in Sumerian inscriptions, the civilization itself ceased to be a dominant presence in the political and economic landscape of the region. Enduring legacy of Dilmun. Despite its decline, the legacy of Dilmun did not disappear completely. The civilization left a deep mark on both neighboring cultures and the modern world, as evidenced by archaeological discoveries in Bahrain and other regions of the Persian Gulf. Excavations at sites such as Khalat al-Bahrain have revealed a rich tapestry of artifacts and structures that attest to the cultural, religious, and economic sophistication of Dilmun. Temples, palaces, monumental tombs, and copper and stone artifacts provide a fascinating window into the daily life of the civilization. The tombs of Morkia and other burial sites, with their imposing funerary domes, highlight the importance of religion and death to the Dilmunites, reflecting their belief in the afterlife and the worship of deities protecting fertility and water. The sculptures of gods, especially depictions of the god Enki, associated with water and creation, reinforce the Dilmunites' spiritual connection to the natural world, a belief that would profoundly influence neighboring cultures, such as the Sumerians. The religious and mythological legacy of Dilmun also endured, particularly in Sumerian mythology, where Dilmun is depicted as a paradisiacal place, the earthly paradise, a concept that inspired subsequent generations. Dilmun's importance as a sacred center, associated with fertility and purity, was absorbed by other Mesopotamian cultures, and its influence can be seen in many myths and rituals of later civilizations. In the fields of trade and cultural networks, Dilmun was one of the first civilizations to establish an interconnected system of commercial exchanges linking the Middle East, the Indus Valley, and Egypt. Dilmun's ability to serve as a commercial intermediary between these powers was a milestone in the history of the global economy, enabling the spread of goods such as copper, ivory, precious stones, and other luxury products that were essential to the development of the economies and cultures around the Persian Gulf. Even after its decline, the trade routes and practices that Dilmun helped establish continued to influence trade in the Middle East for centuries. The science of navigation and shipbuilding for maritime trade, developed by Dilmun, also left a lasting legacy. The use of advanced navigation techniques and the construction of vessels suitable for transporting goods in the Persian Gulf helped solidify Dilmun's status as a prosperous commercial hub and a crucial point in the ancient world's trade networks. The study of Dilmun and its relevance in the contemporary world. Today, the study of the civilization of Dilmun continues to be a major area of interest for archaeologists and historians. Recent discoveries at archaeological sites in Bahrain and other locations have helped to build a clearer picture of the life, beliefs, and social and cultural practices of Dilmun. The monumental tombs, sculptures, and artifacts found in excavations provide valuable insights into the political organization, economy, and religion of one of the oldest and most sophisticated civilizations in the region. Furthermore, the legacy of Dilmun remains an important part of the cultural identity of Bahrain and the Persian Gulf. References to ancient Dilmun and its history continue to inspire modern culture, and the archaeological sites of Dilmun are now key tourist destinations, attracting researchers and visitors eager to learn more about this unique civilization. On a deeper level, the study of Dilmun offers a more comprehensive understanding of the early global trade networks, political and economic dynamics, and cultural practices that shaped the ancient Middle East. The impact of Dilmun civilization on the development of trade, religion, and cultural interactions continues to be a significant reference point in understanding the early stages of human civilization. The legacy of Dilmun, therefore, is not confined to the past. It continues to influence the cultures, economies, and identities of the Persian Gulf region, and its historical importance is reflected in the archaeological discoveries and cultural narratives that continue to be explored, studied, and celebrated today.